You know, Young Living is a multinational billion-dollar company. So when I first met Gary Young, I didn't think that he was the CEO and the then CEO and the founder of the company, because he was just around members and giving hugs and talking to members, listening to every single members. And I thought, wow, what kind of CEO is this? Yeah, that was my first impression. And over the years, I got to know him more. I got to see him more. And at many events, he's always with members. At smaller events, he gets to sit down with members, talk to members, and really, really listen to members. And that's the thing I really remember most about him. He's always very generous with his time, his hugs, and his laughter. I had so many hugs from him. And that is something that I really miss about him. And I just want to say that he inspired me to work closely with people and to do what's right. For that, thank you, Gary.
Well, I was fortunate to attend Iron Wheels Men's Camp Level 1 and 2, hosted by Gary at his home in Tabiona, Skyrider Wilderness Ranch in 2017. He showed me what is acceptance. He taught me that irregardless of my choices, it doesn't change how he sees me as a person. I learned that to be able to be fully accept others is to first accept who I am. Thank you, Gary.
It was at Platinum Retreat in Ecuador, 2014. We were at a distillery. Gary was together with the leaders at a particular vat that was distilling eucalyptus blue. And as he was teaching us about what eucalyptus blue does, and he was, turning on the tap to just pour out some floral water for the leaders to be experiencing. And then at some point, as he was about to turn it off, well, I think he accidentally turned it the other way around. And, more floral water just came out and it just overflowed onto the floor. And the leaders were just, in a in a very excited frenzy. They took off their shoes, they started to step on the floral water, they started to palm as much of their hands and arms with eucalyptus blue floral water as much as possible. As this entire commotion was happening, I was just standing there watching, and I witnessed this really precious moment. I saw Gary. He was just sitting there, and he was still staring at the vat that was still distilling eucalyptus blue. And I heard him mutter this to himself. He said, "Look at all these people who can start to breathe again." And then at that point, he wasn't talking to anybody. Nobody was really watching him, well, except for me. I happened to overhear. He didn't have to perform to anybody, but at that point, I witnessed a man who, in every tree he chopped, in every ground that he tilled, he was always thinking about the people who he has never seen visually, but he has always seen them in his heart. So yeah, for all the times that we have never seen anything concrete, Gary, you've always seen it first. So thank you, Gary, for that.
I remember back in 2015 when Gary was in Singapore, he said that dementia will be the #1 destroyer of families. It was at a time when cancer was the death sentence. And having lost my grandfather to dementia when I was 14 years old, it really hit a raw spot. And I know exactly what Gary was talking about. And I really lost my grandfather about 3 years later. And I was amazed by what this man see, and his farsightedness and his love for the people. and how he spent all his life looking for the best oils, new plants, and every possible ailments that man can meet. He will think of it, and he's always ahead. He's always there, and he has dedicated his life to this mission. And for that, thank you, Gary.
It was 2016 Silver Retreat. I didn't expect to see Gary there, but he was there at the farm day. I remember him again sharing about the farm, seed to seal, how he got started, where he want Young Living to go to. That was like maybe like countless times that I listened to the same like similar story, but that particular time I was feeling very, very touched because I had my baby girl was with me listening to him, and I have the chance to build a business, a Young Living business full-time as a single mom. I have the choice, flexibility, and freedom to be with my parents. And that was because of Gary's vision. So I'm really grateful of that. And thank you, Gary.
In 2012, I have the chance to be at Silver Retreat, and it was a very small group. And Gary was taking us through the distillery himself and explaining every single thing. So when the crowd started moving away, I was very nervous because I knew I wanted to speak with Gary. And I walked up to him and I said this to him: Gary, thank you, because I started using the oils because my father was a Parkinson's patient, and I just really wanted a chance to see light in his eyes again. I wanted to be able to feel my dad, and I wanted to be able to connect with him and just be with him. And I remember as I spoke with him, it was as if there was just nobody around. It was Gary just looked at me, held my hands, and then we just both cried. And I think many of us through the years that we've been around Young Living, we've been around Gary, have always had those moments where you get to stop and talk to this man, and it just feels like you're the only person at that point in time that was most important to him. That's the only minute that he wanted to spend with you and you alone. So this week, starting 11th May, we'd like to invite you to reconnect with your own stories with Gary. We're very sure that at some point you've met him, you've heard him, and something inside of you was lighted up. He has this magic of just lighting up a light for every single person. And that's why he is always special, will always be, and will always be the meaning and the foundation of what Young Living is about. Join us this week as we celebrate this man together.